What's poppin'? Welcome back to Midwest World. This is the Tubecast. Make sure you like, subscribe, share the content. Greatly appreciate it from everybody, straight up and down. Yo, question, is the Analogue 3D delayed? Man, I have not seen no news on that console. Now, if anyone don't know what the Analogue 3D is, I hope I'm pronouncing it right. But there's this company that makes clone retro consoles. Like, I've seen like handhelds from them, you know what I'm saying? Like, where you can play like I believe like Game Boy games and stuff like that, you know what I mean? I haven't really dealt with them at all, but I heard they make some outco like retro pocket stuff, you know what I mean? Where you can play your Super Nintendo games and stuff like that, or not Super Nintendo, your Game Boy games and all that stuff, you know what I mean? That's what I was looking, that's what I was seeing, right? But I know it was a big deal that they was, dropping the first clone console for the N64. You know what I mean? I was looking like, because most of my Sega's a clone console. It's not like a newer clone console. I got to get a newer one, you know what I mean? But I have like an older clone console, but it has an HDMI on it. So it's easier for me to play those Sega games with that because I don't have to find an adapter and all that. My N64, I have an HDMI adapter, but it don't output the brightest, picture and things like that, you know what I mean? So, I was looking forward to, even though I missed the pre-order window, because when the pre-orders was live, I'm like, oh, okay, now I went, they both were sold out. But I seen the controller was available to pre-order, but I'm not worried about that. So I was about to pre-order the controller on Amazon because it was supposed to release in March. Then I looked, that joint got pushed back to like June or July or something. I'm like, hold on. I didn't see no news about this being delayed because they was talking about it was supposed to ship the first quarter of 2025. And now this is the thing when it comes to dealing with stuff like this. Because when you pre-order, well, I didn't pre-order this. I don't know if they took the money off rip. I don't know if they took the money straight out. Because sometimes when you pre-order stuff, it'll come out your account within 10 days, you know what I mean? Well, at least that happens with games, you know what I mean? And in some instances, the money just come out immediately. You just pay, you pre-order, they take the money, boom, and that's that, you know what I mean? And you just gotta wait. Now you're playing a waiting game. So I don't know if it's delayed, anything, I don't know. Well, it has to be delayed because the date got pushed back on the low, you know what I mean? Because the 8-bit do, I'm believing that's supposed to release in conjunction with this console. You know what I mean? Because the 8-bit do, they have an N64 themed controller. And I was looking to see if it's compatible with the actual N64 because I do have the 8-bit do Bluetooth adapter for the 64 where I could play with any controller I really want to use. But it's kind of hard to, the 64 has such a unique layout. It's hard to kind of plug in or sync up the Xbox controller and use that on the N64 than, the PlayStation or even another 8-bit do because the way the controller layout is, you know what I mean? So I was wondering if that controller is compatible with that 8-bit do adapter, which I would think so. You know what I mean? Like, I would think it should be. You know what I mean? But I was looking up stuff and couldn't find an answer to that, because I'm like, well, if I'm not able to get the clone console, which is what I want actually, because I'd rather play on that clone console. It claims it's 100% backwards, it's 100% compatible with all N64 games. We'll see, right? We'll see. I'm not saying it won't be, but we'll see. I've not had any bad experiences with like any other, like my Hyperkin. I have a Hyperkin console for my NES and SNES. No problems. Runs flawlessly. You know what I'm saying? Runs flawlessly. The only thing is I end up getting the wrong Hyperkin console. So I thought I was getting the one with the HDMI port. It was the one with the AV. I'm like, oh, so I got an AV to HDMI adapter, but the less cords, the better. Honestly, I don't like using all these doggone adapters and all that, but It is what it is. That's what you gotta do sometimes. You know what I mean? So the AV to HDMI, it works fine, but I'd rather just have the HDMI port. So down the line, I'm gonna get another Hyperkin console. I think there's one that has the Sega, the Nintendo, and the Super Nintendo in there. So if I get my hands on that one, I'd be straight. You know what I mean? But yeah. So I'm like, when is this system coming out? Because I'm interested to know. Said it had its own custom, dashboard and things like that. I want to know about this console. I heard some people complain about Analogue a little bit about how, they don't make enough, of the product or whatever the case is. I mean, I don't know. I never dealt with Analogue, you know what I mean? But, I don't know. You know what I mean? I can't speak. This has been the first product I get from them, you know what I'm saying? But I wasn't able to hit the pre-order, so I don't know if I will ever be able to get it from them. And then on top of that, I can see this console being super expensive through eBay and things like that for ones who do get it and then try to flip it. Because there's some that's buying it just to flip it and sell it by 3 times the price. I can see that being the case. It happens all the time, especially if it's hard to get. I can see this joint being sold for 3 times the price easily. And I'm not doing that. You know what I'm saying? They claim they could upscale the games to 4K. I'm interested in seeing how that works. Because some of these games don't look good blown up. You know what I mean? It looks better in the lower resolution, to be honest. So I'm interested in seeing all that. But they haven't been putting out any news on this console. And that's the only problem I have with certain with situations like this, right? Because they'll take the money, right? I feel like you take the money, you got to get the updates. You know what I'm saying? Especially if there's not no pre-orders available, you got to be transparent. You have to be as transparent as possible, dog, and give all kind of updates because you took the cheese. So if they pre-ordered it, now I don't know if the money came out immediately, but if you took the money off rip, if that charge hit that card ASAP, you got to be transparent with the people and let them know what's going on. Like, hey, look, we got some issues, we had to delay this, but it's coming. We had to, work out some kinks, you know what I'm saying? We found some bugs, something. You got to say something. You can't just go dark like that and not say anything but took the dough. Because the console's like, what, $250? You know what I mean? It's pretty much close to 300. You know what I mean? I just rounded out to 300. It's pretty much 300. You know what I mean? So I don't agree with not being transparent with a situation like this if you did delay it. You know what I mean? So no, I wasn't wanting to pre-order it, but I do want one. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna lie, I want one because I've been looking there. I heard actually, if you Google this, there was somebody else that was supposed to be making the clone console for the N64. It never happened. There's some dude or whatever, some guy that's supposed to be making a Sega console that's supposed to play everything. Allegedly. You know what I'm saying? So then I seen something else where there was some clone console that's supposed to play PS1 games. So, I be looking up stuff because, look, I like to play older games, but I don't mind playing it on updated hardware. I'm not one of them dudes, man. Like, if I could play the games on updated hardware, let me get that updated hardware. Let me get that. With the HDMI, okay, let me get that. Oh, it runs outputs. Let me get that. I don't want to be having to deal with the struggles of playing with the old console. I understand nostalgia and all that, but if I can play the original games on a clone console that acts like the older console, but all new stuff on the inside, let me get that. Run that. I'm gonna play on that. That's why I'm looking forward to this Analogue 3D situation because I want to play my N64 games on new hardware, straight up. And I'm very interested in seeing what this new hardware is, straight up and down. You know what I mean? So, is it delayed? If anybody got any information, put in the comments. Because it's obviously delayed. I mean, what am I talking about here? It's obviously delayed. It's clearly delayed. They just didn't say it was delayed yet. You know what I'm saying? And listen, no big deal if it's delayed, right? if you're being transparent, games get delayed all the time. All the time. Games miss release windows more often than not, you know what I'm saying? See, back in the days, games that drop with the problems in it and everything. Nowadays, since the internet is out and stuff like that, you know, you don't want to drop no buggy game because then that takes the value down in your game, a la Cyberpunk. Even though Cyberpunk was supposed to come out, I believe, on like, it was supposed to come out on the previous generation, from what I understand. You know what I mean? Then it came out on the Xbox One and the PS4. Game got cooked. Then they finally updated. It took them a while. They updated it and things like that. And now the optimal way to play it is the PS5 version and the series version. You know, that's the optimal way to play that game. But, man, they got smoked. You know what I mean? Because the game was a buggy mess. You know what I'm saying? I didn't think it was as bad as people was making it out to be. But, yeah, so you don't want to put out nothing buggy these days and times. Your game's going to get cooked, and that's going to mess the value up of the game, even if you fixed it. So the initial, once you drop it initially, you want that thing to be working right. So delays, hey, no big deal. I don't believe GTA 6 is coming out this year. I don't believe that. You know what I'm saying? I believe that joint is coming out next year. I can see it getting pushed back. Don't they push it back like 2 times, at least every time with GTA? They always delay that game. You know what I'm saying? So my point is, if they need to delay it to fix out the kinks, please do so. Because they promised some good things with this Analogue 3D. And you are charging $250, you know, to play, you know, old games. That doesn't exactly, you know, let's be honest. You put in the N64, you know what I'm saying? Them games, a lot of them games don't be looking too good, man. Don't be sounding too good either. So you know what I mean? Like, you paying $250 to play those. It's not like you playing like a Sega Genesis, SNES, and things like that. N64 was like a weird stage, you know what I'm saying? Because once you get into the 3D part of things, it's like some games you cannot go back to in the 3D world, you know what I mean? To be honest. Now you can in the 16-bit world, you know what I mean? Like, but once you start talking N64 and PS1, sometimes you go back to some of them games, you can't go back to those, man. It's like, oh my God, this game's terrible. You know what I mean? I can't go back to this one. But, you know, SNES, Sega Genesis, it seems like those games never get old. Those games never bother the eye, nothing like that. You see what I'm saying? It's hard for me to explain it, but I could go back to a Streets of Rage or something like that and not bat an eye. But if you go back to a game from the N64 era or the PS1 era, in some instances PS2 era, you'd be like, man, I can't, this game kind of, the mechanics, you know what I mean? So sometimes the 3D element kind of hurt the game a little bit, you know what I'm saying? As far as longevity on the visual side of things. So I don't know. I want to see what type of upscaling methods this system does have, because I'm interested. I'm very interested because they was talking good about it. They was talking real good about it. All right. So I don't know, man. Hopefully this it does come out. The summer seemed like a weird release window. Do consoles come out in the summertime? I'm guessing the fall. I'm guessing maybe the fall. Like I said, I could be completely wrong here, but I'm guessing the fall is probably when they will want to drop this at this point now. The summer just seemed like a weird release window. If there was consoles that came out in the summertime, let me know. I got all my consoles in the fall. You know what I mean? So, you know, I got them all in the fall. You know what I'm saying? Like literally. So I mean, I don't know. I think the best time to get it is to drop it is the fall or holiday season. But if they pre-orders already sewn up, I guess it really wouldn't matter when they dropped it, right? So if no pre-orders available, they can kind of drop it whenever. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if you're able to cancel pre-orders. Now that's something I don't know. So I don't know with them delaying it. You know what I mean? If that'll hurt the sales, which I don't know, man. I don't know. N64 is an iconic console, so I don't know. You know what I mean? But hey, I'm thinking the people who, I have a 64, so, and I still want that Analogue 3D. So I was about to say, I think the people who pre-ordered it, don't have an N64. They probably do. You know what I'm saying? They just want to play it on updated hardware. You know what I mean? But for the meanwhile, if they playing games, they do have HDMI adapters all on Amazon. You just got to find the right one. Like the one I got is not all that. I'm thinking about getting me a better HDMI adapter for it, because the one I have, it's not the greatest. You know what I'm saying? It does output, but I have to go into my video maker and sharpen the image up, raise the brightness, because it records kind of low. You know what I mean? In a low visual setting, and then it's not exactly the smoothest, so I got to go in and manually edit all that. You know what I'm saying? So it is what it is, man. So hopefully the Analogue 3D come out this year. Hopefully it does, especially for the people who pre-ordered it. I didn't, so I can't really, I'm not feeling it all like that. I know, but the ones who dropped the dough on it, especially if it actually charged the card immediately, I know they got to be hot about that, especially not with no transparency. You got to be transparent about these things. You got to be, especially they took that money, man. So hopefully the console drop this year. You know what I mean? I'm hoping. I know I'm not going to be able to get one, because I'm not going to be able to get one this year, probably, even if it do, because the pre-orders is going, and then you're going to have people trying to hike the price up on it. You know what I mean? So I'm probably going to have to wait. I mean, probably until next year for me to get it. You know what I mean? So I got to live through other people. So make sure you like, subscribe, share the content. Really appreciate it from everybody. Peace.